Hello, everyone. Nearly ranted for ages in silence there, but just about noticed that I was on mute. Good stuff. Hi, welcome to Telling Tales. This is our regular Thursday night Twitch stream of the Cincinnati Chronicles, our World of Darkness anthology series, where we take a whistle-stop tour of each of the core 5 tabletop role-playing systems in the old World of Darkness setting, all on the same day in 1995 in the same city. Cincinnati Chronicles. That's it. That's the elevator pitch. And we are coming to a close of our Werewolf the Apocalypse storyline. Our pack of Garu are ready and raring to tear apart some horrible, corrupted, polluting corporate scum. Aren't we all? Yeah, that's what they're going to do tonight. But first, it's good old promo time. If you look down below, you will find a bunch of links to our YouTube, to our Twitch. You're watching this on one. Please do check us out on the other. Throw us a subscribe and a follow and a like and all that those wonderful activities. Also check out our social media, our Patreon, where you can support us in return for various treats, our Discord, where you can join our community, our lovely community, and chat about all manner of things, tabletop roleplay and otherwise. We run 3 weekly games here on Twitch. Mondays is Shadows of Esteren, Wednesdays is Simbroom, and Thursdays is, of course, Cincinnati Chronicles. All of those start at 8 o'clock p.m. GMT. We also run one-shots of different systems on the first weekend of every month. We've already had our first one of those for 2022, which was Cyberpunk 2020, confusingly, which happened this Saturday just gone and is now going up, as all our one-shots do, over on our YouTube. So check those out. There's bound to be a system you enjoy, whether it's Dune or Honey Heist or Troika or whatever. Check those things out. I think that's all my promo. The only thing else, other than before we start getting into the role-playing stuff, I'll say is obviously this is Cincinnati Chronicles. I'm not wearing this as a dedicated costume I bought for the event. I am a Bengals fan. That's partly why I said this here. And this Saturday, everyone will be delighted to know the Bengals have actually made the playoffs this year. They haven't won a playoff game since 1991, so bricking it slightly, especially since this is probably the best team had since maybe 1991. So no biggie. It's all fine. And if we lose and we don't win a playoff game again, then Mage next Wednesday will be fine, and I won't at all punish all of the players for the Bengals' failings. So now that I've reassured everyone of that, to counter the rumors that have gone around, I think we should get on with introducing the players and talking about the events last week in Werewolf the Apocalypse. So we're going to start with Pierre. You know him as Pierre, and that's all you need to know. Nothing else is required. Pierre plays Marco Vermangia, Bone Nora, I don't know, kind of scoundrelish, slightly...
I feel like all of my characters tend towards happy-go-lucky scoundrel. I feel like I'm getting a little bit typecast. I need to play someone.
Yourself.
Yeah, it's a weakness that I actually have no acting. I only have being.
Being Pierre.
Being Pierre.
Yeah, everything is Pierre. So, with that in mind, why don't you tell us how the session picked up last time?
Yeah, so we had basically received this, uncovered, captured, gained this map that had indicated on it various locations to do with this horrible goop or gunk or whatever it was. And so we had found a place that seemed to be, I guess, redistributing this. And there was an area circled on that map that looked a lot like maybe a place which might be manufacturing it. So that's where we headed. And yeah, we went along. We scouted it out. We saw it. And indeed, it was a foul bastion of polluting capitalism and everything that is wrong with the worm. It emitted a foul stench that it was hard to get out of your nose, even from a distance.
Absolutely. So yeah, you found your kind of target location without much difficulty on an industrial estate to the north of Chicago. No, Cincinnati's downtown. And to talk about an unexpected ally you met there, let's bring on Chris. Chris plays Beanstalk, the Silent Strider, Metis, and Theurge. Yeah, who did you meet, Chris?
Well, we were kind of, well, Beanstalk is always in the kind of look for the supernatural signs mode, and noticed a raven had been not so much stalking us, but as our totem is also raven, Beanstalk tends to pay attention to these things, and kind of while we were scouting the fence of the facility, kind of called us over to a corner in a little back alley. So we all went obligingly where Raven goes, we follow. And Raven, from round the corner of this alley, a young lady who gave her name as Branwen appeared, and initially seemed quite standoffish and maybe a little bit happy that we didn't attack her for some reason that we couldn't quite place. But then we kind of gradually, via kind of enigmatic communication mechanisms, kind of discussed that we were probably after the same thing, and that is doing something about the big messy factory. Now, after this, we were scouting the factory, but my goal, instead of kind of doing anything useful, I did not a spirit journey, but a little meditation, and basically had this little vignette almost of Raven flying alongside another Raven and giving us information that not only was this Raven probably pretty trustworthy, but that the overall request and requirement from our totem, from our benefactor, our spiritual guide, is that we should do something probably quite drastic and flammable to this factory with all of our effort and might.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, scouting out the factory, the manufacturing plant, let's bring on our third player, Holly. Holly plays Zoe, our child of Gaia Arun. Yeah, how'd that scouting go, Holly?
It actually went surprisingly well, primarily due to Lila just hanging out as a wolf, watching things go down. But yeah, so we were kind of instructed to spend about an hour looking at how the factory was operating by Brenwyn, which ended up with us looking at the schedule of a variety of delivery vans coming and going at very specified times, and the interactions that those delivery drivers had at the gate with the guards, which Marco tied very cleverly to the very long list of places and times in the book that we'd already found at the previously mentioned area, that we rested off a bunch of Fomori, was it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So from that, we deduced that we could just steal one of those delivery vans, and so we set off to go do that.
Absolutely. And turned out in the end an unexpectedly easy task. Let's bring on our final player, Inga, who plays Lila, our Getter Fenris. How did we wrap it up last time?
Yeah, so the plan pretty much went really smoothly. How often does that happen? And even better than smoothly is we tracked down this van and found that Branwen had exactly the same plan. So she'd already taken out the drivers. So we pretty much piled ourselves into the back of the van, gagging over the awful stench of those barrels that are in there, while Branwen drove in. We gave her the word, the right words to use in terms of the location so that she could get in, which she didn't have. So that was a good bit of teamwork. She got us into the in through the gates. We all kind of piled out, and we all kind of hid under the van, taking a bit of a look around us. Branwen went off to do whatever it is that she's doing. She reiterated the Raven's message to just destroy it all. And so, yeah, we're kind of hanging out under the van and just sort of taking in the scene. So we see lots of security cameras. We can see they're piling lots of trucks with big crates full of toys, which doesn't seem very good at all. And there's, we just kind of take in the surroundings. There's lots of different exits and going off to different factory floors and whatever. But the interesting thing we kind of stopped on was we spotted a bunch of like big bulky security guards who are like wearing like tactical gear and stuff, like way more geared up than the other guys we'd seen outside. And we see the badges on them saying Pentex Security. And that is where we left off.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm going to ask for a roll straight off the back of that. And it's going to be a pretty straightforward one. But I would like all of you, please, to roll probably intelligence. Oh, intelligence plus... I don't know. Intelligence plus maybe... investigation. We'll go with investigation. Actually, no. You know what? I'll go a bit weird with this one. Let's try intelligence plus streetwise. And if everyone can roll that, but it's going to be a lower difficulty than normal, folks. It's going to be difficulty 5. So there we go. Yep, we have
10, 9, 6. So so 2 successes actually because I got 1.
Sure. So everyone has at least, 1 or 2 successes. Yeah, it's safe to say you all, even though you're a pack of pups, you know who Pentex are. You know that this proves beyond all doubt. Even if it's somehow turned out that the barrels weren't coming from this place, it still needs to burn. So, yeah, your resolve has been hardened even further, I would imagine. But yeah, there you are. You are underneath this van. Take it away.
You said there was another van kind of in the loading bay, sort of somewhat next to us.
Yeah.
How far is that in meters, if you wouldn't mind?
Can I use feet? Because that's how I think. It is... I know.
It's an affront is what it is.
Look, growing up watching wrestling, I measure everything in Hulk Hogan's. So
we're in America. Imperial.
Yeah. So I would say the bases of the trucks are about 12 feet apart, so not far at all.
Okay. I'm thinking of making a kind of... So again, what's the kind of... We did talk about it briefly last week, but how many people are looking everywhere, and do there appear to be any kind of dead gaps where we could make maybe a break for different cover?
I will give you an exact number of people around there. So there are 2 of the regular guards who seem to be stood nearby the vehicles and kind of like just watching workers unload them. The 2 actual kind of more highly on Pentex guards are stood over near the exits on the kind of west side of the docking bay here. And they're just stood next to each other. They're not conversing or anything, but they're very carefully watching what's going on in the docking bay. As for a number of workers, you know what? I will randomize how many workers there are in this room at the moment. 8 that you can see.
So there's no blank spot here. It's either toward the Pentex guards who are very much looking, or toward the Boba Job guards who are still kind of looking.
Well, you know what? Why don't you give me a perception plus stealth roll to see if you can identify any gaps in the people all around? And I'm going to say, it's a weird place because on one hand you've kind of got a good perspective because you can look all around and no one can see you, but on the other hand it's not terribly good because you can't change the position you're in or whatever. So I'm going to say that adds up to, I'd say, a 7 difficulty.
I would like to point out I'm rolling 7 dice here.
Ooh.
Friendos! That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Okay, so I'll give you some extra information here. So there are two, not counting the kind of door, the big outside door you came in through. There are two main doors out of this room. One of them, which is the one guarded by Pentex, is quite small and also seems to have some kind of, like a scientific seal around it of some kind. You're not particularly au fait with that kind of thing. I mean, you're Metis. I'm assuming you don't have much in science or technology. Yeah, but you've seen some kind of fancily locked door, and it's all white. And it's got like a little window in it, but it doesn't look like a normal human door. And you think maybe there's some technology going on there. There's also a larger door, which most of the workers seem to be going in and out through. Through there, you can hear the sound of some very large machinery. And that seems a lot more like a room or a chamber or, part of the factory floor that people are actively working on. You can see that all the toys and things are kind of coming through there from that area. And also, I would say that you think you could get out from under this truck and maybe hide among other crates that are in the bay or something like that. If you think you can time it if you leave basically the direction, both doors are kind of off towards the left of the truck. If you go to the right, there are still a couple of workers hanging around, but you think you could dodge them and find a place among the crates from which you could maybe make a move somewhere else. But I will say this, realistically, it's daytime, it's brightly lit, it's a big open area. Getting out of the docking bay into one of the other chambers of this manufacturing plant without being seen in any way is gonna be tough.
Which leads me to my questions.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, are people wearing uniforms?
Yes.
Is it identical uniforms for everybody, or can I see that there are different uniforms for different people going different places?
The only difference in the uniforms is between the regular guards, the Pentex guards, and just everyone else working.
Sweet, cool.
They're like jumpsuits, right?
Okay, cool, sure. Number two, what kind of fire alarm system can I see, if any?
I will actually say you can't, because I think all the fire stuff will be in specific places on the wall or directly above you. So from underneath the van, I'd say you probably can't see much. But maybe you could from among the crates Beanstalk could get you to.
Okay, cool. And then the other question is, how close are the people coming to the truck?
They're coming to the back and unloading it, so they're walking right next to the truck.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, go.
In terms of the truck that we've come in on, obviously, because we all did jump out quickly and then tuck ourselves underneath. If we were to get back in the truck somehow in the driver's seat, or if somebody were, is there somewhere that the truck could be maneuvered? Are there different layers in here at all? Are the other trucks kind of blocking things? Is there a potential to
Can we ram the door
into all the people?
It's quite a large area. There are two layers. There's kind of like a half square, where you've driven towards, that's higher up, with some ramps leading down so people can trolley down some barrels and crates and things like that. So yeah, there is a higher level. There's not a huge amount of room. You guess you could only fit maybe a couple more trucks in here. Having said that, there's enough room to maneuver and aim the truck at something. You could, if you wanted to get in the truck and drive backwards and forwards violently, you could definitely cause a ruckus and probably some damage to someone. But at the same time, it's not like a vast open area where you could back the truck up and you could try and ram things, but you couldn't. The only thing you can really ram intentionally would be the kind of shutter door out, or the other truck, I guess.
I think I make a sort of using the sort of the kind of body language thing. I maybe make the symbol for
you can talk in Garu silently.
Yeah.
Pretty silent.
Quiet, then loud, as a sort of, in a kind of questioning way. I'm trying to indicate I don't know if Beanstalk has communicated about that there might be a place nearby, but
So I'll kind of pick up on that and respond in very quiet Garu as well. It's like, I can see there's a good opportunity for me to secrete myself among those crates. Either I can be the distraction, or could we bring fire to this truck?
I was literally about to suggest that we just cut the fuel line and let a little bit of petrol spill down, because I assumed that the docking bay is sloped because it would have to be for drainage.
Yeah,
so,
it's slightly
so
sloped,
we
absolutely.
So we cut the fuel line, we let it slope down. It creates a long little line of petrol. Light one end, let it go up, then we run the other way.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a distraction. Oh, I thought we were trying to like overwhelm these guards. Well, I guess we'll see how it goes.
It is worth noting, by the way, and absolutely these are things your characters would know. I don't know whether the players do. The vast majority of humans who aren't, it's different for Fomori and stuff like that. But if most of the people here are just normal, if maybe corrupted humans, then they're not going to be an issue once you transform into Krenos or Hispo.
Yeah. No, I'm assuming that they're not going to get in the way, but they also might get in the way.
Sure, yeah, unintentionally.
Yeah,
sure.
Okay.
So I'd like to, I would like to go ahead and secrete myself among the crates, kind of separately from everyone else, either as a distraction myself or at least as surprise extra werewolf.
Sure. So it seems like we've got some options here, and it seems like we've got two kind of plans on the go that complement each other pretty well. So it sounds like Zoe is going to do some good old fashioned monkey wrenching to this fuel line and cause that can be used at some point. And Beanstalk is looking to creep out and get amongst some crates nearby. Marco and Lila, are you taking part in either of those plans, or doing your own things, or?
I think I'll just to Marco and Zoe, if there is any, again, quietly in Gary, if there's any, that's what I'm looking for. My mind's just suddenly gone blank. If there's any fire systems, we need to disable those before we set anything on fire. Surely we don't want everything to be. Does anyone know anything about fire, or do we
I think theory,
bigger fire?
Yeah, in theory, the fire system would just make the normal people evacuate. I doubt that those guys, pointing to the Pentex security guards, are going to go anywhere, even if there's a fire alarm.
I mean, more if it sets off sprinklers and everything becomes wet and we can't set it all ablaze.
Oh, the sprinklers will only be affected locally. They're heat dependent.
It's fine. Small fire now, big fire later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you do a small fire as a distraction that they can put out with like a single fire extinguisher. That at least is a distraction. And then we make a big fire later, which
no
can't
plan
put out with one.
Survives contact with the enemy.
With fire.
With fire. Most
that is also
don't survive contact with fire.
Okay, so Lila, Marco, are you folks going with Beanstalk? Are you kind of hanging back with Zoe a bit? What or something else? What's the plan for you two?
I think I'll hang with Zoe, and just be backup. Maybe try and bluff somebody off. Give us some time, but we'll see.
Sure.
I'll try and peel away with Beanstalk and just follow as when he
sounds good. In that case, I suspect that the peeling off is going to happen before the fuel line bit, probably, because having some extra room under there would be handy for that. In that case, Beanstalk and Lila, then, can you both give me and you know what? It's been thought about, so I think this is a mental roll rather than a physical one. So why don't you both give me wits plus stealth rolls, please? And because of Chris's excellent roll beforehand, Lila, your difficulty is going to be 5, and Beanstalk, your difficulty is going to be 4. I love how Beanstalk is the sneaky one, even though he's this kind of like tall, gangly, odd, Tim Burton-esque individual.
2 successes for me.
I was just checking to see if Raven would help out in this situation, but alas, this is not.
Yeah, you have Raven's
yes.
favor still at the moment, I think, don't you?
Yeah, but no, sorry, my difficulty was
4.
4. Wow, okay, and that's a 6 dice. 2 10s and 4 successes overall.
Very good. So the two of you, Beanstalk obviously had the right of it, and you sneak over. There's kind of a docking worker kind of just over to your right, but he's kind of got his back to you and is just ticking stuff on a checklist. And while it's presumably not as loud as it is on the factory floor here, it's still fairly loud. You creep over among a number of large crates that seem full and ready for transport out. They seem to be full of a number of various household items, but predominantly toys. There's a listing for something called Dr. Mysterium's Magician, which seems to be like a doll of like a kind of Victorian magician with a top hat and a wand and stuff like that. Neither of you, I think we established that no one in the pack has sense worm, right? Yeah, that's fine though. Instead, let's have a perception plus primal urge roll from both of you. Standard difficulty, please.
What 6 dice, 5 successes, and there's a 1, and that's after
sure.
the 1.
And Lila got 2. Both of you kind of like Lila. You can feel the hackles on the back of your neck starting to stand up as you pace between these crates. Beanstalk, you can feel the dolls. They feel not alive, but not inanimate either. Like some kind of like horrible state in between, like a spiritual state of being just lurking there, ready to wake. The magician dolls aren't the only ones. There are kind of like various others, kind of more traditional dolls, sort of action men type things. It's not all there is, but the majority of the boxes are things like that. You can't help but notice that the labels for delivery on the side of them, they're not shops. They're schools, orphanages, homes for children, charities.
Gonna fight. Want to find him. Want to fight. Let's fight him.
So, underneath that truck, Zoe, let's see how you do with the cutting the fuel line there. What technique are you using to do it?
As in, am I cutting it with a penknife, or am I going glabro and using a nail?
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. Like Krenos, the truck would tip over, but you could transform to glabro and use your claws. Yeah, absolutely.
It depends. Do I have a penknife? Because that's going to be, in theory, easier.
Do you think it's the kind of thing your character would have?
I mean, yeah.
I have a glaive.
If you want to try and ram a glaive up in the engine bay, you can.
I also have a thing called Apecraft's Blessing, which might come in handy if what we're trying to do is mess with human tech.
Yeah, it is, essentially.
It is, yeah. What are the rules around that?
Well, I'm currently my screen has gone entirely black. Which is kind of making it difficult. I actually unmuted myself by alt-tabbing and then pressing Control-D, which was a difficult maneuver. But
sure.
Yeah.
I've got Apecraft's Blessings here. The Homid focuses the mastery into the tools they use, causing the spirits to awaken and lend aid. So you spend a turn concentrating, and then you make a roll. Each success reduces the difficulty by 1 on the next roll you make for your character to employ a tool made by human hands. So yes, that would kind of that would absolutely work.
Okay, so that would just be my wits in this case.
Yeah, I mean, what tool are you using that's made by human hands, though?
Oh, that's true. If I'm using my clave, that's not made by human hands, and if I'm just cutting a wire, that's probably
I would say the
not really using
clave
the
is
tool.
probably a bit of a clumsy thing to use.
Yeah.
Like this for.
I don't think I have a knife or anything.
If you want,
anything like that.
You can roll 8 crafts blessings, and I will just let you then roll to try and split the fuel line with your hands.
Okay.
Because that's the item made by you know, maybe you can try and detach it or like scrape it against a bit of the whatever. Don't judge me for not knowing what's
the
underneath
internals, the rusty bit of the engine,
the axle and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you roll wits plus crafts, difficulty 7 first.
Cool. I rolled 2 successes on that.
Okay, so that will reduce. Yeah, you feel kind of like, humanity are Gaia's children as well, and you feel like that the power of that gift running through you, and the sudden understanding and logic of like, oh well, this was put together with hands, therefore it could be manipulated like this, so on and so forth. So that will reduce the difficulty by 2, which is good because it was going to be on the more difficult end of things to split a fuel line with your hands. But why don't we go with then, you can, for skill, for an ability rather, you can pick either drive or technology. And I think physical, you're just going to have to go with, either dexterity or strength. Because I think, you could argue it 2 ways.
Just
so.
sort of like fiddling. Okay, I'm going to go with dexterity and technology, which is my better of those. So I'm rolling 5 dice at a difficulty of 6, was it?
I'm going to say a difficulty of 7. I think it would have been 9 to begin with.
Okay. I rolled a 7 and 2 1s, which I think is a botch.
That is indeed a botch. So I'm going to judge from this that you do indeed split the fuel line with your bare hands. There was evidently way too much pressure in that fuel line. The fuel sprays out from the side very noticeably of the truck, kind of over in between the trucks where there's a couple of workers standing, and it also coats you, Marco Vermangia, more or less head to foot in highly flammable liquid.
Good. I think I don't say good. I think I say fuck. And I sort of look, hopefully, worriedly, at Zoe.
So it's just going to like shrug and then just like in Garrow just say, "How's a distraction?" And I'm just going to wait for. So you said there were like 2 or 3.
There are a couple of workers. One of them is already kind of like stooping to look at where the fuel is coming out.
Sure.
From the side.
If they're both close to.
Yeah.
Can I reach out and grab both of their ankles and yank them onto the?
You
just
can.
In the hope that I'm assuming that we're on the side where there are fewer people. If there are loads of people about, I'm probably going to try and be more careful.
There are loads of people on that side in general, but there's only a couple of people between the 2 trucks. But other people will certainly notice. Including all the guards.
They're going to see us, at which point we will need to take care of them anyway. So
we could try and bluff them.
Oh yeah, no, we're just chilling out under here. Just
this Arun, it seems to be very keen on picking a fight. I can't see why. Yeah, sure. I mean, you absolutely can do that. I would say you're still in Homid as far as I'm aware. So pulling those people over by their feet might be a bit difficult for you.
I mean, I'm happy to try and shift into Glabro if we would.
Yeah, sure. Well, shall we do that first then? Best to switch from Homid to Glabro.
We're all good. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you're in Glabro, and I take it you're reaching out and trying to drag these workers over by their feet and kind of half drag them sort of underneath.
Both ankles yank underneath.
Sure. Well, why don't we make a strength plus brawl roll then, and don't forget to add your extra +2 dice for Glabro, for strength in Glabro. And I'm going to say I think this is quite difficult to get both of them over.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say that it's broadly a difficulty of 8, and the number of successes will, like, you need 1 success to get one of them, and 2 successes to get both of them.
Okay. Well,
don't forget you can spend willpower, folks, because this is the end of the story. So spend them if you got them.
I've only got 3 willpower left, so
Sure.
I'm going to see how I do with my 9 dice on this.
Oh well, yeah, that seems pretty good.
9 ones.
Okay.
Not 9 ones.
I mean, pretty close to 9 ones. I'll be honest. It's mostly 1s and 2s, but it does work out to 1 success.
1 success. That's fine. So
Which,
kind of
on 9 dice is frankly horrifying. But
a little bit, but not statistically too unlikely.
that's
but
right.
yeah,
I'm saving the good rolls for later.
Sure,
So
absolutely, for the climax.
Yeah, exactly.
So the one who is kneeling down and looking at the fuel, you get a good grip on him. The other one is kind of you hear kind of a woman yell and like pull her foot back in a hurry from this grasping hairy clawed hand that's come out from underneath the truck. But the other guy, is just kind of on his back being dragged underneath, going, help me! Everyone in the entire docking bay is now looking over and paying attention. The kind of regular guards are kind of slowly pacing forward and looking around. The Pentex guards are stalking towards the truck, assault rifles up and aimed. Say if you don't want me to go ham at this point.
It's bacon time.
Are we happy? Are we happy with me just
as Garu? You've had patience enough to not just tear through the docking bay shutters and just kill everyone. So
we briefly tried the subtle let's sneak around way.
I think I definitely make a meaningful look at you, and I'm just like, I guess we're going loud.
Okay, cool. I'm going to shift into Krenos.
Mm-hmm.
So just so can I just check, Matt? Like the way we slipped away was in the opposite direction to the Pentex guards,
correct?
Right? Yeah,
correct.
Okay.
And Matt, how sort of clumped together would you say these Pentex security guards are? Are they?
They're stood probably about 6 feet apart.
Are they sort of a truck's length? In total, for example,
far less than a truck's length.
If a large wolf person was to be under the truck and was to, as they approach, tip the truck,
you want to tip the truck onto them, yeah.
Would that be a thing that could happen
if they get close enough? I mean, they're not currently that close enough. If the truck tipped over, that it'd be on them. They're quite a bit further away than that.
Yeah.
But yes, if they were the same distance apart then as they are now when they came closer, then yes, you could tip a truck onto them. But they are quite a distance away from you to be able to do that.
That's what I had assumed. I mean, even if I tip the truck over, that gives us reasonably valuable cover from what I presume is going to be a hailstorm.
Yeah, sure. If you want to. Look, Holly, clearly you want to tip the truck over, and I'm not standing in your way.
Okay, but it's really just whether I wait a little bit or not. So that's going to be basically I'm making eye contact with Marco because he's the only one I can see. And just I'll transform and then I'll be braced.
Sure.
Okay, and is the guy who you've pulled under, is he just gone? How is he?
I mean, you just pulled him under. You haven't said you've done anything.
Yeah,
to him,
I haven't done anything to him yet. If you wanted to do something,
okay. I guess I'll also probably.
You could probably do a change in clothes anyway. To be honest,
sorry, folks. Can I just jump in here because we're talking about a lot of things we're going to do in a chain, but we haven't done any of them yet. Yeah. So the first things first. Can we turn into Krenos? because I think that's needed before we do any of these things.
Yeah.
So that's unless you want to spend rage to do it automatically, is another stamina plus primal urge roll with difficulty of 7.
When do I get rage back again?
You get rage back on seeing the moon every night. Whenever you suffer a botch. So in fact, Marco, go ahead and take a rage if you can for that botch.
I think I was at max
whenever
rage.
you're sorry.
I think I was at max rage. So
sure.
Yeah.
Whenever you're humiliated at the beginning of a tense situation, such as combat or confrontation, and yeah, that's basically it.
Would you say that this is a tense situation?
I would say that it's about to turn into such, but let's
sure,
let the actual thing
I'll
happen first.
I'll use a rage now.
Sure.
And then hopefully just get it back in
Sure, absolutely.
10 seconds.
So I am looking. Okay, Marco, what are you doing to this guy who's been dragged underneath?
I think I'll turn into Glabro and cut his throat with the clave.
Okay.
I think he's making too much noise. And
isn't Zoe about to tip the truck over?
Well, yeah, but I figure he needs to be. Oh well, maybe he doesn't. Is he just like freaking out and not doing anything, or is he like?
He's being dragged under the truck by an unknown creature, an unknown clawed creature who's dragged. No, he's not like he's not there like Hudson in Aliens, like pulling a massive gun and going "fuck you." Like he's a terrified worker who's being dragged under a truck by a monster.
Okay. All right, I feel bad for him. I'm not gonna just cut his throat as soon as he comes under the truck. Instead,
it has to be said. Normally, when attacking something like this, Garou, while they wouldn't really probably go to extraordinary lengths to save the lives of the relatively innocent people who probably work there, neither do they cut their throats at the first opportunity. But if you want to do that for your character, you do you.
I like you're convinced. You're turning me round to the idea that maybe I'm not just bloodthirstily killing this man. Instead, I will raise my clave to his neck and say, don't move, shut your mouth.
He's not moving. Did you say you turned to Glabro, by the way?
Yeah, I think that would make sense.
Again,
so
that's
I will spend a rage to do that.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, he's not doing anything. And he's just seen Zoe transform into Krenos, and he's fully fledged in the delirium. He's just thrashing around making non-human noises of panic and fear and desperately trying to get away. So he's not responding particularly to your threat, but it's safe to say he's not a problem.
Cool.
In any way, shape, or form. Zoe, so I'm having a look here. I would say that tipping the truck is equal on this feat of strength list to oh my word.
The truck will mostly be empty at this point because
it will
they
be
have
mostly
been taking
empty,
out the barrels.
but it is a large vehicle. I'm going to say it's larger than a sedan, but you're not throwing it. So I'm going to say it's the throw a sedan level of feat of strength, which is 13 dice pool.
Listed.
That's a 13 dice pool, and I'm assuming your strength isn't 13 in Krenos. It's not that high,
no,
right?
It's only 8.
Okay.
Only 8.
So what you have to do. Okay, to act outside your strength roll, you need to make a willpower roll, not a strength roll. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, you've got very, very, I would say, basically no chance of doing this.
Yeah, okay. If I know that there is no chance of me doing this, then probably the better thing to do is just try and because all I'm trying to do is get most of the truck between us and the guards. Yeah. So I don't know if
getting behind the wheel.
What is your strength again? 9?
8.
It's 8. Okay. Yeah. Let me just calculate what you need, and what's your willpower?
In terms of what I have currently available,
No,
or
your overall willpower
4.
stat. Yeah, that's an impossible thing for you to do, I'm afraid.
That is what I had assumed. Okay.
It has to be said, if your main goal is getting the van between you and them, the quickest way to do that is to get out from under the van on the right hand side.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. And are they still all just on one side?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do that then. And
you could definitely try to, if you wanted to just move the truck and not tip it over, you may have a bit more of a chance of that for sure.
I can try and move the truck.
Push it into them.
You know what? Yeah, let's.
Okay, good.
You know what? Let's go. Let's put that at a 9, so it's kind of within reach. So I just need you to make a willpower roll at difficulty 9 and get 1 success.
Okay.
I believe in you.
It's 2 successes.
There we go. So yeah, you scramble out from underneath the truck and you batter into it with your kind of huge third form, and the truck kind of shrieks and squeals uncomfortably and just spins round at the back. Maybe the rear wheel drive isn't terribly good, and kind of slams into the other van over on the other side, and you hear a kind of a general cry of alarm, and then the workers on this side catch a sight of you, and the yelling and screaming starts. People are desperately running around, kind of running to that back shutter and kind of battering on it to try and get out. Chaos is ensuing. Beanstalk and Lila, you have presumably seen all this.
My first action is going to be to spend 1 Gnosis to activate Speed of Thoughts, which doubles my running speed, which might come in handy for closing distances.
Sure, and does that work for the scene?
Yes, 1 scene.
Fantastic, yes. Lila, any immediate action from you?
Yeah, I'm going to spend 1 Gnosis to use Master of Fire, which lasts for the scene and means that any fire inflicts bashing rather than aggravated damage.
That sounds like a very good idea. And with that, I think we can safely go into some combat rounds here. So let's all roll up our initiative, please, folks. And if you roll it up and post it in the private chat, that would be good. If you need a reminder on how to do it, that is, you roll 1 die, and then you add the total of your dexterity and wits to that. And if you could do that for me while I do the same for these guards, that would be good.
I cannot type in private chat, but I got 13.
Okay, all right. Okay, so
in the dark.
Will I do this and you can carry on?
Yeah, you can do if you want. Yeah. So players go before NPCs. So it looks like we've got Marco acting first, then the guards, and then Lila, and then Beanstalk, and then Zoe. So that would be good to pop up. Thank you. But in the meantime, yeah, Marco, you're going first. There is a truck between you and the guards. So immediately attacking them will be difficult. And as far as I'm aware, you're just stood on the other side of this truck in Glabro with your clave out.
Yeah.
Soaked in petrol.
And soaked in petrol. And where was and the guard who was under the truck?
That wasn't a guard. That was a dock worker.
The dock worker who was under the truck. He's ran off? Or he's still under the truck?
He's probably scrabbling backwards away from you while babbling incoherently. Or specifically actually from Zoe.
Okay. I think that what I will try and do is so if the guards are coming towards the truck, I think I will try to use the truck as like cover to hide an attack, and then I'm going to try and run. So I'm going to try and like if there's a guard anywhere near the sort of front of the truck. I suppose that depends. I don't know if there will be a guard.
You don't know where they are. So
cool. Maybe I will. Maybe I can just assist with pushing the truck, and wait until I can see something more.
I don't think the truck can be pushed anymore. It's just crashed into the other truck.
Ah, sorry, I had missed that. Okay, in that case,
You can defer your action if you want.
Yeah, I currently have no vision on the people. Can I just see if there's anyone around who looks to be sounding alarms or aiming guns?
No, as I've said, the only people you can see are workers, and they're all undergoing the delirium.
They're all undergoing delirium. So
the only people in this room, the Pentex guards might be hit by the delirium, but you don't know because they haven't seen a Krenos yet.
Yeah, that is fair. Maybe that's a good reason to go into Krenos.
Do you want to defer your action?
Yeah, that makes sense.
No problem. It's worth noting, by the way, we know that in World of Darkness, you're meant to declare your action in reverse order and then blah, 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 blah. But honestly, it soaks up a lot of time, and we've already probably got a lot of combat to get through in this session, so we don't want to run too late. So we're just going to... So the guards, I think it's safe to say they haven't seen what's actually happening on this side of the truck yet. All they saw was someone being dragged underneath the truck. The guards are going to kind of move round the side of the truck, and then they're going to open fire on what they may or may not see on the other side of the truck that's just pushed the truck. And you see them kind of come around the side of the front. They're on this slightly raised area at the front. They clock Zoe and they clock Marco, and they raise their weapons. They are not affected by the delirium, and they are going to fire. And you know what? They're probably going to both fire at Zoe. Let's be honest here. So they are going to fire 3-round bursts. So the first one is got my cat experiencing sneezing trauma. So 3-round bursts, add 3 dice, but up the difficulty by 1. So that is going to be a difficulty of 7 that they have to reach. And that is pretty poor roll, all told. Which means that there's only this many dice. Means there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage dice to roll. And that is another absolutely wretched roll, which is good news for Holly. Holly, can you roll your lethal soak, please, which is just your normal soak at difficulty 6. That's just your stamina.
Okay.
Don't forget to add your Krenos.
Yeah. That is 4. 4.
Yeah.
Difficulty 6.
You feel something patter across your iron-hard flesh like gnat bites. But that's about it. There is another guard who's also going to fire a 3-round burst. And that is, this difficulty 7. That's a slightly better hit. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, I must say I miss systems where I don't have to roll anything. Okay, that's quite a bit better. Why don't you give me another soak roll, please?
What happens if I botch a soak roll?
Nothing.
Okay, I got 3 1s. So it's yeah.
So is that all?
3 1s, 2 successes.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah,
So
they still remove the successes, but they don't kind of cause any extra stuff. The second guard, evidently, maybe a bit more used to encountering Garu than the other one, aims very well and fires a 3-round burst of assault rifle rounds into your chest. Take 6 lethal damage.
It's not good.
Not good. What does that leave you on?
So hang on, let's refresh where we're at. So 6 lethal damage would put me at incapacitated, I believe.
Yes, if you already had, because you have 1 aggravated damage.
Because I already have 1 level of aggravated, which will heal on bruised.
No,
so I am.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So we get to use an interesting little thing here. So can you give me, please? Can you roll your rage at difficulty 8? And if you're ever going to spend willpower, I would spend it here.
Okay, I've got 7 rage.
Okay.
My dice haven't been great though. I'll be honest.
We should
So
make
shall we just go with a willpower at this point? Just because I'd rather not get all 1s again.
You'll be pleased that you had the extra success. That's all I'm telling you. If you spend a willpower.
Okay, sure, yes, I will spend the willpower. But I assume I need to roll as well.
Yeah, and also roll. Definitely also roll. Your willpower success can never be taken away by a 1, by the way.
Okay, well, cool. Okay. What was it? Difficulty 6?
8.
8. Oh, Jesus. Right, that's 1 success from the roll, 1 success from the willpower.
Okay. Instantly heal 2 damage.
Lovely.
You can only do this once per scene. And it definitely would have been more interesting if you'd rolled 4 successes. That's all I'm saying. Or if you'd rolled 3.
I assumed that if I had rolled better, more interesting things would happen.
Sure.
But I am personally happy with only being mauled rather than
absolutely. You have healed that instantly. So that is good. 1 second, folks. I'm just going to have to pause. Please entertain the wonderful people.
The wonderful people.
I completely forgot about the rage rolls, and then all of a sudden I remembered about the rage rolls.
I mean, yeah, I need to replace my dice.
You need an entire new set of dice.
I might just put all of these in the bin.
You're approaching what we on Wednesday nights call the Antom threshold.
Yes, yeah. I've rolled an unconscionable number of 1s.
Absolutely. So that's the guards' actions, though. Lila, you are easily within a move of the guards. Should you want to charge into them and cause some chaos?
I'm currently in Hamid. Presumably, changing form is also would be an action.
A roll would be an action, but spending a rage to instantly change is instantaneous.
Okay, I will spend a rage to change into Krenos, and can I then use Visage of Fenris, one of my gifts? So what this one does is it makes me appear larger and more fearsome, commanding respect from peers and cowing my foes. So I roll Charisma and Intimidation. Only 1 success is necessary to affect non-Garu and Garu of equal rank. And to affect Garu of higher rank, you need a number of successes equal to twice the difference of rank between the Garu and the target. And so allies and peers affected by the gift see the Garu as impressive and noble, and they have a -1 difficulty bonus to all social rolls. And foes pause a moment to summon the resolve necessary to fight such a monster, losing 1 from their initiative ratings, and the gift lasts for a scene.
Yes, I would say that losing 1 from their initiative rating will do nothing to the initiative order.
Yeah. Okay, so is that all already in terms of like pausing a moment to summon the resolve necessary? Is that
Yeah,
really
you know what? I'll dock them. Yeah, I'll dock them an action next turn. Sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
So go ahead. What do you have to spend anything to use Visage of Fate?
I have to roll charisma and intimidation to get some successes. So
sure, absolutely. So go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and do that. That sounds like something that's not a particularly like an actual action, if you see what I mean. Like, I think you can do that alongside what you're doing, if that makes sense.
Well, assuming that's standard difficulty, I get no successes.
Okay.
Mainly, because I had a 1 cancelling out as a 10, so that was fun.
Those darn ones.
And then just too low on the others.
Pesky ones.
So that's a bit pesky. Did you say I could still do something? Could I still move?
Yeah, I think you can still move and attack if that's what you want.
All right, yeah, I will go and try and take a chunk out of one of the Pentex guys. If I can.
Sure. So yeah, you kind of, I mean, you've switched to Krenos. All these like crates are kind of toppling around you as you kind of swell up from behind of them. All the dolls and toys go scattering along the floor of the docking bay, and as you charge forward, you register among like the cries and screams of the workers, the machinery sounds and everything. There's just a little odd kind of tinny recorded voice comes from one of the kind of magician dolls as it like tumbles over and crashes to the floor nearby, that just says, "Let's be friends. We can make magic together." So could you roll for me, please? I'm assuming, what are you doing? Are we talking biting / clawing?
I'll take a bite out of him.
Sure, that will be a Dex plus Brawl roll at difficulty 5, please.
Oh my god! I need a whole new set of dice as well.
Because it was so successful.
We're rolling real well tonight, guys.
I rolled 3 2s, a 4, an 8, and then 2 1s. I botched the bite.
And did you remember the extra dexterity from being in Krenos? Yeah.
I did.
Well, here's the thing. As far as I can recall, Inga still has 1 spend a willpower after the roll from last week, because you were the one who didn't do it, right?
Yeah, that's right. I will take that.
Sure, go for it. I think that's absolutely fine.
I just cancel out the botch.
Yeah, for anyone who didn't watch last week, we mucked up how willpower works, and once one person mucked it up, I allowed everyone to muck it up once. And Inga hadn't used that yet, so we'll do it now. Go for it with and the damage on that is strength plus 1. So roll your strength plus 1. The difficulty of that's going to be 6.
We shouldn't get used to this, guys. Matt's in unusually high spirits because the Bengals haven't yet lost.
It's true.
We're ready for the
So is it still difficulty 5?
No, it'll be difficulty 6.
Oh.
Yeah, first session of the Mage arc is going to be more depressing than Wraith.
That's 3 plus the 1 makes 4.
No, sorry. The roll is strength plus 1, so you'll roll your strength in dice and another die. If that makes sense.
That makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still just what did I say? Did I say 3? 3.
You said 3, yeah. Well, they get no soak on aggravated damage. So you kind of bound forward and seize maybe the forearm of one of the guards just beneath your jaws and kind of lift up. And he's kind of on tiptoes now, kind of like shouting and kind of desperately trying to aim his assault rifle with one hand at you as you're wrenching him off the floor, but definitely still in a state of aliveness and fight backness. Oh yeah, at the beginning of the combat, we should say for everyone to regain a rage, by the way, as soon as the initiative kicked in. So feel free to do that. Beanstalk, we're on to you.
I think I'm going to take the unattended guard for a bit of a trip to Bitey Town.
Sure. Are you switching to Krenos before you do so?
Yes,
Krenos.
which is free.
Oh,
for me.
you don't have to roll. You can just do it automatically because it's your breed form. Yeah.
One of the few benefits of being a menace.
And your regeneration's better too.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to close the distance and make my bite, which, if I recall, is...
It's a dexterity plus brawl difficulty 5.
Well, I should check my screen then, because dex is, oh lord, 4 plus brawl 5. Oh my goodness, that's not great, is it? To 5. Yeah, I've got 4 successes. I got 5 successes on 5 dice there.
That's where all the luck went.
Clearly, you're leeching all that off Holly and Inga, but it's just a shame that extra successes on melee and brawl rolls don't mean anything. So just give us your strength plus 1 as a normal damage roll, please.
Strength
Don't forget to incorporate that
good.
extra 4 for Krenos.
7 dice in total. And what is standard difficulty, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
7 dice. Sorry, it was standard difficulty? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
1,
6.
2, 3 successes. Ooh.
3 successes. It's a similar situation. You dart forward onto the other guard, and kind of you're more kind of like whip-like in your lashing out, and you kind of lash out and gouge a great chunk out of the guard's shoulder with your jaws. Who again, kind of this one actually is a lot more stoic. Maybe it's the one who shot Zoe and just kind of like readies his rifle and starts kind of backpedaling away from you quite desperately, but clearly probably not fast enough. Zoe, we're on to you, and the first thing we'll talk about is regeneration.
I was about to ask about that.
Yeah, so if you make a... Sorry.
I was just going to say, do I get my deferred action?
Oh, well, yeah, whenever you want to take it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to work out if this is the end of if it comes at the end of the line, or
it's whenever you want to take it within the order of initiative.
Okay, cool. Can I take it? I don't know. Yeah. I think I just want to shift into Krenos and attack the guard who is sort of closest to me, I guess, with the glaive, and try and like bypass the armor.
Sure, absolutely. I'm
using a rage to transform.
Yeah, you can use a rage to transform instantly to Krenos. So yeah, attack with your clave. That will be a dexterity plus melee roll.
Okay, so that's 4 dice for the dexterity.
The difficulty will be whatever difficulty your clave is.
Difficulty 6, I believe, for clave. 4 plus 3 is 7 dice. Yeah, so it's the difficulty to attack with a clave is 6.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be 7 dice with a difficulty of 6. And I roll it, and I got 3 10s and a 1. So 2 successes.
Cool. And then what's the damage on the clave?
The damage on the clave is strength plus 2 aggravated damage.
Okay, then roll your strength plus 2, and don't forget to factor in your Krenos.
So my strength in Krenos is 6. So plus 2 is 8. Wow. That's all successes apart from 1. So that's 7 successes.
Okay. So what happens, and I'm going to say that this is the guard that kind of Lila has kind of like almost dragged up onto his tiptoes. And what you do is just kind of you blur into Krenos, and as you do, you take kind of a couple of bounds forward. And the clave doesn't need both hands, but as you're kind of still shifting, you kind of like grasp onto the clave and just with one great cut and bound forward, kind of Lila, the weight you're holding in your jaws about halves. And there's kind of a thunk and a great spray of innards and blood as the guard just splits in half. And you can quite easily kind of like toss the remainder aside from your jaws. So that's one of the guards fairly decently dealt with. Zoe. Yeah, we want to do your regeneration.
Regeneration would be really helpful here.
So it's regenerating 1 lethal a turn is normally automatic, but if you're in combat or a stressful situation, you do just have to roll for it. So that's a stamina roll at difficulty 8, and don't forget to factor in your Krynos.
Was the difficulty 8?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
No,
that's 2 botches actually.
So, okay. Well, then no regeneration for you until the combat's over.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But on the other hand, like realistically, I think the combat is about to be over. So that's probably likely. Zoe, what are you going to do with the remaining guard that is now confronting Beanstalk?
There's just 1 more remaining guard.
Yeah. Everyone else, all the dock workers are screaming, either have run away already or are screaming and about to do so. The regular guards, the ones you just saw outside, they're part of that general movement. You can see one of them kind of cowering in the corner. He has his gun out, but it's like over his head as he's like just curled up in a fetal position, and the other one is running. So yeah, it's only these 2 Pentex guards that you can see who are providing any opposition to you, and one of them has just been torn in half.
Okay, I would like to attack.
Sure. Bite, claw.
Tackle.
Is this the one that was being attacked by Beanstalk earlier?
Yes, it is. The one who shot you.
Yes, yeah, that's what I thought. Can I just like claw him from head to foot?
You can certainly make the roll to see if you do.
I will try. It may be that I miss entirely and catch sparks onto the petrol puddle, and
absolutely. Well, that's the goal.
We'll see.
So that's a dexterity plus brawl roll. Don't forget to factor in number 1, your Krynos, number 2, your wound penalty. So you are, I believe. Did you say you're at mauled? Yeah, you're at mauled.
Yes, I am. So it's a -2.
Yeah, remove 2 dice from your pool. But otherwise, it's just dexterity plus brawl at difficulty 6.
Is it dexterity or strength? Is it dexterity because it's a claw attack?
It's all attacks are use dexterity, not strength. Strength is for damage, not.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's just 5 dice. Terrible.
We all have our crosses to bear.
What difficulty is this?
Difficulty 6.
I mean, I don't know why I was asking. That's 4 successes. So,
okay.
Yeah, 3
that's all good. So now if you could roll your strength plus 1. Normal difficulty, wound penalty does not apply to damage rolls. So just your Krynos strength plus 1 die.
Difficulty 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 5 successes.
Yeah. That thing you were talking about of kind of ripping him open, kind of, what's the term in Candyman? Gullet to groin or whatever it is. You just the guys turn to focus on Beanstalk and maybe intending to fire another one of those expert 3-round bursts. He won't have the chance ever again, as you just kind of bound up behind him and with one rake of your huge incredibly sharp claws just carve him open at the back. Your claws briefly snag on his spine before they snap through them, and he goes tumbling to the floor with an inarticulate cry of absolute pain, which is quickly cut off by his death. So you are now all in the docking bay. It's full of people. There are people panicking. There are people fleeing. And you can hear similar kind of cries and noises of concern and alarm coming from kind of other areas. There is the room with this kind of sealed a sealed door and there is also a large opening that presumably you believe leads to some kind of factory floor. There is no one arriving from that room just yet. A couple of people have kind of like gone through to see what it is, and then it have immediately been triggered by the delirium and are just also in a state of blind panic or despair.
Are there any like radios on the guards? Is there any sign of chatter or anything? I mean, I'm guessing that actually alerts have been.
A very good question. And you know what? Yeah, as you're standing there, you hear kind of, one of the radios on the upper half of the guard that Layla tossed to one side kind of go, "What the hell's happening in there?"
Okay, so, yeah.
So, there are other Pentex guards. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess, like, I think I'll sort of gesture to the door, which the like sealed laboratory looking door, because to me that looks like the place that we might want to be if that's where they're doing the high security work. And like, is it like card operated? Is it like numbers? Does it look like the sort of door I could smash down?
Why don't you give me a perception plus
technology
roll? Yeah.
Can Lila do the same? I was going to say,
yeah, absolutely.
Straight there
yeah.
to the door.
Is anyone? I mean, if you're getting closer to that door, you're closer to the entrance to the main factory area as well. Is anyone going to kind of take a peek in there and see what's going on?
I might take a look stealthily, though.
While these guys are looking around, are we now out of combat? And
absolutely, you're out of combat.
Can I?
Yeah, enough time has passed. You can just get rid of all your lethal.
Thank you.
4 successes.
I'm going to use a willpower as well, but so 2 successes.
Okay. And Beanstalk, why don't you give me a perception plus alertness roll to take a scope out of that factory floor, presumably while Zoe is. You don't have to stand still to regenerate, but it certainly will make it speed along to kind of like stand there and, in my head, like Will's mainly regenerate by standing there going kind of,
Yeah, considering I've just been pummeled by automatic rounds.
Yeah, maybe kind of like pouring the blood off your chest and while the wounds close. So Beanstalk got 2 successes. So first off, let's talk about the door. First off, I mean, Marco got 5. What was it? 4 or 5 successes?
4 successes.
Yeah. I mean, you all understand English, so you can see that there is a sign over it that says laboratory. But yeah, it is like a sealed kind of like pressure door sort of thing. There is, let's say it's a card reader. And yes, with the application of sufficient strength, you could batter it in.
Okay, so I won't bother trying to search among these delirium-induced people for a card, and instead I will try to kick the door in.
Yeah. Absolutely. A Beanstalk, you can see out from where you're looking is a very large kind of processing and manufacturing area. It seems to be where all the material that is going in the crates is being made. There's usually what you'd expect. There's large areas of machinery, kind of presses and cutters and stuff like that. Conveyor belts where the workers were working until they caught sight of all of what's going on, or even the ones who haven't are running away and are kind of desperately trying to get to an exit you can see over on the left-hand side that presumably kind of goes around to where the entrance is, although it also seems to be going out to maybe another area with large machinery in it. You can also see that there is a gantry stairway leading upwards to the upper part of the manufacturing plant. You can see 2 other Pentex security people moving and retreating up that gantryway, and as they do so, you hear over from that radio, which isn't too far from you, maybe 6 feet away, you hear it click on again and go, "All remaining forces, pull back, protect Griffin."
So they're pulling away from us.
Yeah, they're pulling up to an upstairs area to protect Griffin.
Griffin, whoever or whatever they are, sounds like they need to die.
I'll actually call this out. Returning away from my kind of poking position, I'll shout out, whatever we do behind that Weaver door there, we have more work to do in the large room over here. There are more armed men retreating that way.
Marco, I believe you're going to try and batter this door down.
Yep.
Well, let's look at the old feats of strength for that again. What is your strength, friend?
My strength in Krenos is 6.
Well, I'd say this is equivalent to a metal fire door, which, or maybe one higher. But if it's one higher, that's 6. So yeah, I'm not going to make you roll for this. In Krenos, you can absolutely do it. You have to take a bit of a run up, but you can absolutely dash towards that door. And you know what? Let's add flavor to this. Do you do it with a kick? Do you do it with a shoulder barge, or do you just hunch and run into the thing? What's going on?
I think I like do an initial like shoulder barge and then another one, and then as it like starts to like seemingly like maybe the edges kind of start to give way, I then like kick it in as the final sort of.
Sure, absolutely. The entire thing cracks open. Part of the wall splits around it, and the pressure door goes kind of like flying across the room. You can see it kind of hit someone in sort of scientist whites who like crashes to the floor underneath it. Go. Inside, what seems to be a series of rooms separated by a corridor, but they all have kind of plastic. Glass-like plastic, transparent plastic separators, so you can see all of what's happening. There are several other individuals dressed in kind of lab coats. They're clearly working on kind of scientific equipment of various kinds. And there's also at the far end of the corridor, adjoining them all, there is what look to be a set of metal stairs going downwards. Basically, I will say if someone is not immediately affected by the delirium.
Right.
But as soon as all the scientists catch sight of you, they either start fleeing in panic or drop to their knees and kind of like clasp their heads. There is no one here to provide any resistance.
Are there like, is there any like unusual smell or anything strange or off-putting about this lab?
That's a very good question. The smell you could detect all the way from the outside that intensified in the docking bay has more or less has reached a whole new level in here. That kind of, I think I described it as a spell, kind of disinfected, rotting flesh is washing over you. Is very unpleasant. And actually, you know what, Marco? What's your rage?
My rage. So I've used 1, so I'm at 2.
No. Your permanent rage.
3.
Okay. It's technically not possible, but I'd like you to give me a rage roll, please.
Okay, I will try. I will try my best.
Difficulty 8.
Okay, difficulty 8. 3 dice. I got 1 success.
Okay, no, never mind. That's fine. I wanted to see if you frenzied on the sight of,
on the site of
whoever these people are, whether they're servants of the worm unwittingly or not, these people kind of essentially presumably cooking up this horrible material and for implantation into children's toys. And I feel that's a provocation, but no, you're not there. You're still in control of yourself.
Yeah. It's lucky that I'm the most reasonable one entering this room.
I was about to say, so it's probably going to head towards the laboratory. Would that role be required as well?
I don't want to just do the role for everyone as they go. Okay, you know cool. What I mean? Right, so we'll, yeah. I think, Marco's blood was up as he kicked the door down and entered.
Sure,
so
no, that's fine.
Absolutely.
In the laboratory, as well as all of the equipment to make this disgusting stuff, are there any containers that are labeled as flammable?
There are so many different containers that are either labeled inflammable or clearly contain flammable material. Yes.
Could I grab the largest one and just carry it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Something that needs to be exploded.
You know what? I think we'll say that there's literally a barrel of ethanol near you in the first room as you enter, along with another a whole bunch of general kind of chemical supplies. And yeah, you can,
I sling it over my shoulder and we're good to go.
Absolutely. Marco and Zoe are here in this laboratory. Beanstalk, you were kind of observing the factory floor. Lila, are you doing anything in particular?
Lila is torn. She wants to go in and kill those awful scientists, but Beanstalk has also said we need to be somewhere else. So I think she will take a second to be like almost physically like torn like between it and just sort of snarl maybe to Marco, like kill those servants of the worm, and then run off to go follow where Beanstalk's kind of indicating.
Sure, absolutely. You know what, Zoe? Can you give me a and I realize this isn't a common role for a Garu, especially in Arun, but can you give me an intelligence plus science roll, please? Just difficulty 6, I think.
In the heat of combat.
Yeah.
1 success. That was a shocking surprise on 2 dice.
So you have a barrel of ethanol. Probably most of the flammable and explosive things in this building are in this laboratory. There's a lot of very sensitive chemicals.
That was the next step in Zoe's big plan was
Grand master plan.
Set this bit on fire.
Yeah, if you just hoof that ethanol barrel out to explode over everything.
I'm saving this ethanol barrel.
Okay, sure. Yeah, there's other flammable supplies. So yeah.
Set on fire.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I realize what Zoe's intent is, and I sort of I look down at myself, coated still in petrol.
Yeah, don't worry. I was going to warn you to leave.
In gas, and I kind of I think I back out and I kind of dog shake to try and get as much of this flammable material off me as possible.
So, Zoe, is the general idea just to set everything here on fire?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, and so I'm going to remove the large barrel of ethanol, place it a safe distance away from this laboratory area, and I'm going to go back and scatter as much of the flammable liquid around this laboratory area as I can, then set it on fire.
I definitely say, obviously, a lot of that will not be a terribly delicate thing, as you are.
Don't worry, I do not need to be delicate. It's as long as there is flammable liquid everywhere in the laboratory.
Sure, absolutely. Well, why don't you give me then I think that roll to scatter as much flammable liquid around as possible. Is going to be I don't know, dexterity plus investigation. I think I'm kind of happy with.
Ooh. You shouldn't be allowed to run Roll of Darkness. That's crazy.
Normal difficulty, it's a chemical lab with lots of dangerous chemicals. It's all over the place.
That's still only 1 success.
That's enough. It's definitely going to take you a little bit of time to do this, but you're just kind of stomping between these different kind of plastic separated chambers, just swiping chemicals, and they spray all over everywhere. It's going all over you as well, but I guess you're not particularly planning on still being here when it happens.
At that point, I was just going to raise an important question that Inga has asked in the private chat, which is Master of Fire still in effect?
Yeah, it is. We're going to basically the scene is going to end when the manufacturing plant is exited in some fashion.
Okay, cool. So, well, that is good for this situation.
Cool. But yeah, because of the 1 success, so that's going to take you some time. So we'll just leave you there stomping around, wiping this out with the scientists cowering under their desks. A couple of them have run down those metal stairs. At least one of them managed to scamper away behind you and out of the docking bay. But they're, like I say, zero resistance whatsoever. But we'll leave you doing that. Marco, so Marco, are you going after Beanstalk and Lila now?
Yeah, I think I sort of see the look in Zoe's eyes, and I know that those scientists are dead one way or another. And yeah, I follow Beanstalk and Lila.
So you three can dash your way through the factory floor. Like I say, it's a metal gantry stairs leading upwards and around to a more kind of dedicated upstairs area. Is there any sense of stealth to what you're doing, or are you just kind of rampaging forwards as fast as you can, kind of hackles up, blood in your nostrils?
So I would actually like to send the party up the stairs while I go to Hispo, and given I have Speed of Thought active, basically do a physical survey of the ground floor to see where these people are going and are there any other entrances up to it. So I'm going to split the party.
as Chris loves to do, as regular Simperoom viewers will know. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're like you say, with Speed of Thought on, I'd say like we'll send Marco and Lila up, assuming that they want to go up, obviously. You won't take too long to do this. I think that's perfectly reasonable. So, while Marco and Lila head up the gantry, I know you guys just kind of doing that, like kind of
charging right up.
Yeah, like running up this gantry, it creaking with the weight of 2 Krenos, scrambling up it. Beanstalk, why don't you give me a Wits plus Investigation roll, please? Normal difficulty.
4, and I will request the... Oh, no, it's subdiffusion, not investigation. Okay, 3, 4 dice. 0 successes. A 7 and a 1.
Okay. Okay, I can't think of a way to not give you the layout, because if you're running around looking at it, I'll give you that, but that's all I'll get. Like, no other indication or knowledge. There is, like I say, this large processing manufacturing chamber with a lot of machinery still running, although now lights are starting to flash now that no one's kind of operating the things or registering any inputs. There is another chamber, and with your 0 successes, I'll tell you, it just looks to you like the same as this one. And then there's the entrance.
I'll make my way back. I would like to take the opportunity to see... I don't know much about Weaver technology or the ways of these hominids, but I do know that generally it's a bad idea to press all the red buttons that you see. So I'm just going to come make my way back, but I'm going to take a stop to kind of, if I see any kind of red lever or anything like that, I'm just going to...
No, this is World of Darkness technology, which is analogous to real technology, and it rarely has a button to blow up the thing that it's on.
Yeah, but it'd be like emergency stops and stuff. But that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Do they have poor worker safety in these factories?
They probably don't have an emergency stop.
They probably don't have any worker safety whatsoever.
Emergency shift change button.
Okay,
we'll absolutely no lockout tag out. Just
we'll come back to that with you because you've already taken the time to kind of go and run around and look at stuff. In fact, no, I'm going to actually interpret your 0 successes as you can't see anything like that because you don't have any information about anything. So unless you're hanging around down here while the other 2 go off and fight, then
there's battle to be done.
Okay. So you're coming up after them. Right. Upstairs. Marco, Lila, you emerge up at the top of the gantry into what seems like it's literally an office level. It's not very big. It's basically one long corridor with a number of offices to either side, and then there seems to be an open area at the end that's maybe kind of like a little atrium that seems to have some chairs and some plants laid out into it. And then you can see, although all the lights have basically gone off, you can see that there are maybe some offices down the end there as well. Are you exercising a bit more caution at this point, or are you kind of still running, kind of pounding ahead full tilt?
Is there kind of a place where, I mean, because the call wasn't me about protecting the Griffin or something, right? So can we still see anyone heading in a particular direction? Does it look like any of the
you cannot see any of the Pentex guards now? They were far enough ahead of you that wherever they've gone up here, they're out of sight right now.
Yeah, that's definitely suspicious.
Okay. Shall we scout together then, maybe?
Yeah, I'm tempted to maybe shift into lupus. I think I will spend a rage to do that.
Okay.
Shift into lupus. Slightly keener senses and just try and see if I can like get the faintest hint of any sound, any particular little stench, or that seems suspicious, or even the smell of like, I don't know, the guns, even like, or
no, absolutely,
whatever I can to try and like figure out where they may be.
Okay, so you kind of are the two of you kind of pausing at the top of the stairs while Lila does this, or Marco, are you moving ahead?
I think while Lila does that, I think I will I will move more slowly but less quietly, with the intention in a sort of different direction, with the intention of like drawing attention away from wherever Lila is.
I mean, if you're trying to move forward, there's literally just one corridor.
But isn't there like two directions?
Well, one direction is the stairs that you just came up from.
Oh, okay.
It's so one corridor directly ahead of you.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, I will remain relatively still.
Okay, sure. Lila, why don't you give me a perception plus alertness roll, please? And I think with lupus, I don't think it adds to your stats, but it reduces the perception difficulty. So I'm going to move it down to 5 for you.
Two successes.
Okay. You can hear some kind of slightly halted, constrained human breathing down the end of this corridor. That atrium, the wider like area that you could see with the plants and the chairs, there are some humans lurking there.
When you say this sort of that breathing, like does it sound like slightly panicked?
No, it sounds like it's intentionally repressed.
Okay, yeah.
Like they're breathing quietly.
Yeah. I will silently and Garu say to Marco at the end of the corridor in the atrium.
Said corridor, by the way, could be navigated with 2 movement rolls. Well, not rolls, but 2 movement actions. And I'm just putting this out there. Rage can be spent for extra actions. If you wanted to rage your way down the corridor and then attack them with 1 turn, 1 action, you could both do that by just spending 1 rage.
Can I spend 2 rage to do that? And as I'm doing that, also
shift to Krenos?
Shift back into Krenos?
Absolutely, you can. Yes.
Okay, so I think when you communicate that, I think I'll nod in the way, seeing your intent, and yeah, let's do this.
Okay. You do that. You both kind of pause as you gather yourselves, and then you spring forward, and with the full speed of your rage and your Garu form, you bound down the corridor, Lila's form shifting upwards into Krenos as you do so. You hear kind of like, you're making a lot of noise doing this, obviously, and you hear kind of like, kind of the noise of the guards ahead of you, not realizing how fast you could make it down this space, clearly intending to fire on you as you were coming down that narrow corridor towards them. And then you bound out into the atrium. There is a guard on either side kind of lurking with their rifles, but you can easily I'd say you have to attack different guards unless you want to like bash into each other on the way. But why don't we roll those attacks first before we go into an initiative?
Okay.
Because we might not have to, eh?
I was going to say, would it be possible to do a Call of the Wild as well while running? Sure. Or am I so far through this that like there isn't even time to?
No, I think you can do your buffing howl as you move forward. Yeah, why don't you do that? What are the mechanics on that?
Stamina plus empathy, and the number of successes determines how far away the call can be heard and how stirring it is to those who hear it. So let me roll that.
And it's like kind of it's basically like. The mechanics are basically just up to me, right? They'll give some suggestions.
You determine the effects, perhaps awarding a bonus die for 2 participants for each 2 successes, or granting a point of rage to all listeners.
Sure.
I think it can also it says they can also stir the hearts of fellow Garrett or chill the bones of all others. But yeah,
Sure.
it's basically up to you.
Absolutely.
Make
Let's
two
let's
cards
go
shit
with that.
themselves.
Yeah. So yeah, give us that roll first, Inga, before we go into combat.
Mm-hmm.
How did we do there?
Difficulty 6. Oh my god! I had 7 die to roll, and they're all under 6, apart from the 9. But I've also got a 1, so nothing.
There we go.
It's just a loud, scary howl.
Just a bog standard howl of a towering, terrifying, fuzzy combat machine. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's bounce straight off that onto your attack, then, please, Lila, rather. What are you biting or clawing?
She likes to bite.
She likes to bite. So that's a dexterity plus brawl at difficulty 5, please.
3, 4, 5, 6.
For anyone who has noted, by the way, bites and claws do exactly the same damage, but bites are easier. Which begs the question: why ever do anything but bite? But sure,
For
I
flavor,
guess some things you don't want to
ironically.
bite. Yeah.
1 success.
That's absolutely fine. That's all you need. So give me a strength plus 1 roll, please, and don't forget to factor in your Krynos. Difficulty 6.
It's weird. I would imagine that clawing you could do at a slightly longer range, but yeah,
there is the benefit of like my razor claws thing does
Yeah.
more damage. So yeah.
makes your claws.
2 after. It would have been 4, but 2 1s makes it up to 2 successes overall.
No problem. So yeah, you snap around the corner, and maybe the individual was slightly too fast, or maybe your howl gave too much of a warning, but kind of leaps back, and you've left great rents with your fangs in his forearm. But he's kind of like trying to back away from you, although doesn't have much room to do so. But clearly will be close enough to get off to maybe be able to attack you. Marco, bite, claw, or clave? Clave.
It has tasted blood
Dexterity
once.
plus melee, please, at your clave difficulty, which I believe is 6.
Yeah, I'm going to spend 1 willpower to get 1 automatic success, and then I'm going to roll. That's a botch.
No, it's not, because you.
Oh, it's not.
spent willpower.
Yes, so I got 3 1s and 2 successes.
You people need to do something about these dice.
These
This
dice
is
are not good.
appalling.
So is that 0 success?
No,
Or-
a willpower
because it can't be cancelled.
thing can never be removed by a botch.
Course.
So you hit. So roll your damage, please. Difficulty 6.
Okay.
Don't forget to add your strength for Krynos.
Yep. So my Krynos strength is 6, so 6 dice. 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay, yeah, you slash around the corner with your clave. You're not honestly quite sure exactly what you did to the individual, but they're kind of clutching at their chest while trying to aim their rifle at the same time. Let's go into initiative, please, and let's re-roll our initiative. So a D10, please, and then add that to your dex and your wits. You know what? Let's have everyone do this, and then when Beanstalk and Zoe get involved, we could just fuel them into that.
16.
Okay, so could you put it in private chat, please, so Chris can use it as reference when he builds the table?
Can somebody do that for me?
14.
Oh, yeah, sure. And the guards are at 11, and Marco is at 16. Okay,
16.
well, this seems like a lot more reasonable in that I think Lila and Marco are about to get their attacks in before the guards again, so that's good. And I think from looking at, Marco's going to go first, right? So let's go straight into that. And also, Pierre and Inga, you can regain 1 rage each.
Okay.
Because of the start of combat again. Marco, I take it you're just going to try and stab this guy again.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if my clave hit into him, I'm going to try and maybe draw it across. So I guess, is that the same dexterity melee?
Yeah, exactly the same roll. Yeah.
Cool. That's a botch. 0 successes and 1-1
Good lord.
on 6 dice.
Thing is, you're not even using dice. You're using the concept of dice is against you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, well, you said that your clave may be still slightly stuck in him, and I'm going to say he kind of jerks away, and your clave comes out of your grasp and skitters along the floor of the atrium, leaving you only with your bite and your claws to deal with. Let's go to Beanstalk, and I'm going to say, Beanstalk, you are now at the base of the stairs.
Oh no.
Do remember speed of thought, so
I remember speed of thought. So that doubles, right? So it's going to take one movement to get up the stairs, and another movement to get halfway down the corridor.
I'm looking at my rage.
Yeah, I should ask about rage at the beginning of rounds, really, but I keep forgetting, so I'm happy for you to spend them.
I think I'll sit on it for now, and I'll spend the normal movement so I can work on this initiative order and also
sure, absolutely.
Keep my rage for later.
You can, Lila and Marco, you can hear Beanstalk kind of like dashing up the corridor behind you as you engage these individuals. And next we've got Lila. Bitey time.
Bitey time.
Bitey time. Dexterity plus brawl difficulty 5.
4 successes and only 1-1. Bring it down to 3 successes.
So that's a strength plus 1 roll, please. Don't forget your Krenos extra 4 for that.
Four successes, 2 1s, so 2 successes again.
2 successes. Yeah, you snap out again with your jaws, and again they puncture into this individual's shoulder. They're quite grievously wounded now, but they're still standing and kind of probably just yelling at the top of their lungs and desperately trying to get enough distance from you to open fire. Yeah, I think that will about do it. We then now have the guards going. And we're going to go with the one facing Lila first. And you know what? I think you're so close and in this guy's face that he's going to forget the notion of shooting you and just draw a knife and try and desperately stab that into you. So with that in mind, oh God, what's his wound penalty as well with what he's got? It's pretty fearsome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, that's -2. Well, he's got a die to roll, which he does hit with, and I believe I don't actually have knives noted down, but I think it's probably strength plus 1. But I will have an extra look for a knife. Yeah, it is strength plus 1, which isn't going to be too much damage he's going to deal you. So that will be that. Okay, roll your soak, please, which is just your stamina, and don't forget to incorporate your Krenos boost.
That's a 6 difficulty again, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you believe it? Oh, no, wait, hang on. Krenos is +3. Hang on. Right.
Mm-hmm.
2 die for that. Thank goodness. Oh, my goodness. Would you believe it? So before I rolled 3 5s, an 8, and a 1. So I thought, hooray, I get to roll an extra 2 die. And they're both 1s.
Fortunately, there's no such thing as a soak botch. But yeah, the guy kind of decides that aggression may serve him better. He's drawn this knife. It's kind of like, you know, a combat knife, like a special forces or a military knife. And he's just kind of half underneath you, kind of still wrestling with your jaws, just kind of like has plunged the knife up into you a couple of times. And it's not big enough to do massive, serious damage to a Krynos, but it has dealt you 2 lethal damage. So note those down, please. And then the one fighting Marco, I think, has backed off enough to try and fire at you. And is going to do so now. I'm going to dock him an extra die because of the proximity. And he's already got a wound penalty as well. He does hit.
Okay.
And that is going to be that many dice to roll for damage.
It's a lot of dice I'm hearing.
That is a lot of dice, and he's actually rolled super well there. Can you give me your soak roll, please, which is your stamina? Don't forget your Krynos boost.
Stamina in Krynos is 5. So I'm rolling 5 dice, 2 successes.
Okay. He kind of backs off as your clave goes skittering away, and he quickly like readies his gun and aims it and fires. You feel your collarbone shatter as a burst of bullets goes through it. It's not enough to put you down, obviously. You're Garu, but take 4 lethal damage.
Okay. And lethal is stars, right?
Actually, usually lethal is crosses.
Okay, sorry. And that was 4.
It doesn't really matter on these sheets, but like the reason is so you can upgrade from bashing to lethal to aggravated if you're doing it with pen and paper.
You said 4, sorry.
4, correct.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm wounded, which is -2. Looks like.
But when your turns roll around again, you'll get to roll to see if you regenerate. So, Zoe, we're down with you. I don't think there's any rolls for you to make. I think
unless you want me to roll for fire.
No, I think at this point you have, or maybe there is a roll for you to make, but at this point you are satisfied with how much you've coated this laboratory with flammable material. How are you planning to start the fire?
My initial thoughts
razor claws, scratch.
Well, yeah, either razor claws against some form of metal objects, which I assume are in copious supply. If that isn't going to work, then a spare electrical wire that I assume I can just pull out of the door mechanism and make a little spark.
Something like that. Well, let's try your razor claws first, shall we?
Claws is definitely the less delicate way.
Yeah, and you might need them in a minute anyway. So so Cole, do you have to make a roll to use razor claws?
I need to spend a rage.
Okay, and that's it.
So yeah, I'm happy to spend that. Really.
So let's do that, and then let's make a roll to see how well you successfully fire start with them by kind of scratching them on a metal surface. I think that's pretty cool. So, God, what would that be? I think that's going to be intelligence plus I don't know, intelligence plus brawl. Let's go with that.
Okay, that's better. Intelligence plus anything is pretty terrible for me.
And I'm going to say it's difficulty 8, but you only need 1 success.
I mean, sure.
You can willpower it if you want.
Yeah. No, I'll just.
You rely on. Sure.
Yeah. 1 success.
Yes, and that is all you need. You're standing there, kind of like one of those very polished, shiny metal lab table, and you just rake your claws along to sharpen them to wield the weapons that Gaia has granted you. Sparks fly off, and immediately kind of part of the room you're in is just engulfed in flame. That flame is spreading quickly. It's probably time to leave the laboratory.
I'm leaving, and I'm going to pick up my large ethanol barrel.
Absolutely. Let's do that.
Just to point out, on 5 dice, I got 4 3s, which is
Well, at least you didn't
We're
botch.
still not out of the woods yet. The dice gods need to be kind. Please, please.
I'm trying to make up my mind as to whether I think a botch there would have been breaking a claw or just setting yourself on fire.
I mean, I am liberally coated in flammable material.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. Okay, let's go round back to the beginning, folks. Marco, you first off, do you want to give me a roll for regeneration, please? It's just stamina at difficulty of 8.
So I have. Oh, wait. I think I have 5 stamina because I'm in Krenos. So yes. Yep. Difficulty 8. I roll 1 success, 1. So failure. So 0.
Okay, so that's no regeneration this round. What are you doing?
Okay, how far away did I see where my blade went?
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. Is it far? I think I can get to it and like try and attack with it, or would it be getting to it as one thing?
That would be 2 actions.
Can I take 2 actions by spending a rage?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
The attack would come at the end of the round, which would be after the guards.
Or I could probably close the distance in 1 action and attack the person as a thing.
You could just attack him with your bite or your claws. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just because my main skill is in melee, so I'm like, yeah. I'm just wondering, would it be more effective for me to try and pick up, like, grab his gun and beat him with it, rather than like attacking with my claws? I don't think that makes that much sense. So I guess it
would be the same roll but harder.
Yeah. Okay.
And do considerably less damage.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking.
It's one of those things where it's like, if I disarm and do this, and it's like, just eviscerate him with your incredibly sharp claws.
Okay, I think I'll go for a bite.
Why not? Biting's fun. So that's dexterity plus brawl, please, at difficulty 5. Don't forget your Krenos buff.
Okay, so my dexterity is...
Just for the sake of players and audience, by the way, this session's definitely running late.
Sure. So you said difficulty 5, did you?
I did say difficulty 5.
Botch.
This is now statistically highly unlikely.
Difficulty 5, botch.
Yeah. I rolled 1 success, 1 3, 2 1s. So yeah,
right.
You're factoring in your form, right? Because you're not just in Homer.
Yeah, my dexterity is 4, and I have no brawl.
Okay. I am going to. I'm just going to give the guard an extra die on when they get to attack you, if they get to attack you. So yeah. Yeah, you go to bite and kind of overreach, and the guard dodges to one side and now has a better shot on you as he's kind of backpedaling along the atrium away from you, aiming that assault rifle. Beanstalk. Yeah. You do gain a rage back because you have just botched. So yeah.
Enraged for having lost my clave.
Every time you botch, folks, you do get a rage point back. So that is a thing. Beanstalk. You are within a movement of it, so if you want, you can move to where they're fighting and then attack without need to spend anything. That can just be your. Like, you can obviously also spend stuff, but so you know.
No, I think I'm glad. My form at the minute is still Hispo, so I'm going to come in an American Werewolf in London, which I don't have time to make a decision. So it's whoever's fighting Pierre.
Okay. And because you're in Hispo, I'm assuming that's a big old bite that's coming in.
That's a big old bitey time.
Okay, so that's dexterity plus brawl, and obviously factor in your +2 from Hispo. Hispo, for anyone watching who doesn't know, is basically a dire wolf. So huge wolfy boy.
And that's diff 5 for bite still, yeah?
It is, yeah.
Whew. 4 successes.
That'll do. So that's a strength +2 bite in Hispo.
Again, diff 6, of course.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that's 0. 2 1s, but a success.
What? 2 1s, but what?
No successes. I rolled of my pool of like 5 dice. I rolled 2 1s and a 7 and a 3.
How can you have 5 dice?
Because it's strength
Plus
plus 1, which is 4.
Why is it strength plus 1?
Sorry, strength plus 1. Sorry. Oh, I was reading Lupus. It's strength.
Okay.
It's
strength. It's your strength plus 3 plus 1 for the bite plus 1 for Hispo.
Okay.
So it's your strength plus 5 in total. So
7
unless
dice.
your strength is -2 at least.
So what I'll do to make this fair is I'll roll 2 extra dice.
Sure.
And, oh wow, both successes.
More than 2. So how did you say you rolled 3 dice though?
No, because there was
first.
a difference from what I rolled the first time and what I rolled the second time with 2. So I rolled the 2 extra dice, so I didn't completely.
But was it just 2? How many dice did you roll to begin with?
5. And my
you rolled 5.
Was 7.
Okay, so that sounds right. Okay, so 2 successes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Bit of a mathematical odyssey.
Out from the side of you, Marco, you see Beanstalk's Hispo form, which I'm assuming is just this big, lithe, prehistoric wolf creature that bounds over the kind of polished floor of the atrium and snaps at the guards fighting you leg, and he kind of gives a howl and kind of wheels round and desperately trying to figure out who he should shoot as that happens. Lila, I'm assuming you're trying to finish off this objectionable individual.
Sure am. Do I have to roll regeneration first?
Yeah. Give us a regeneration roll. So it's just stamina at difficulty 8.
No successes.
So that's fine. Another bite.
Yeah, another bite.
Okay, dexterity plus brawl at difficulty 5, please. Seriously.
I got the only ones above 5. I got 2 7s, but then I also rolled 2 1s.
This is impressive.
I honestly have never seen anything like this. This is remarkable.
This is crazy.
We are cursed.
Cursed wolves.
But way too much time too close to those barrels in that van. That's what we did.
Clearly, you've been infected. You bite for this individual, and you miss. Maybe put off by the fact that you've just been left with a big old knife hole in your chest. So we are on to the guards. Let's deal with the one fighting Lila first, who is now at a big old, fairly big old wound penalty there. So only gets 1. I think the wound penalty is -2, and it's dex yeah. Okay, they do not. You clearly have infected them, and they are managed to not strike you with the knife that they are trying for. The other one is probably going to shoot at Beanstalk, and they are now at a 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they're at that. So their fire is going to be this, and they do hit with their assault rifle. Let's see what kind of damage they do. That is they have been somewhat affected by whatever is happening to us tonight. Clearly, the laws of nature and reality are bending in anticipation of our start of our Mage storyline next week. But can you give me a soak roll, please, Beanstalk? It's just your stamina.
It is just my stamina, and that is no successes. 2 10s and 2 1s in that pool of 6.
you people need to change either your dice or your die rolls, and I don't believe in that kind of thing. The round does clip you, but doesn't seem to do significant damage. Please take 2 lethal damage.
You got my back though.
I put these guards here as a temporary stopgap for 1 round.
No, these are hero guards. These are hero guards.
Hero guards. We should be celebrating them. Going behind the others.
Yes.
Here,
Please
never
help.
leave your Arun behind. This is the lesson, people.
Please
I mean,
help.
to be honest, the Arun has been rolling pretty piss poor as well.
That's true,
So-
but can't hurt. Sheer weight of numbers of these huge killing machines will eventually deal with these 2 guards.
We'll just all sit on them.
These 2 pathetic little human guards.
Hey, these are
with
Pentax
tiny guns.
security.
Hey, that fight with the
Professional.
Fomori's looking awful sweet right about now, isn't it? I'd say it'll take you, because you're using your movement and your combat to both, and your action to move both of those. I'd say that it'll take you a movement to go that far, and then I'd say you're coming up to the corridor now, like this upper corridor, and you can see your pack fighting at the end of the corridor.
Sure.
Unless you wanted to spend any rage to get additional actions.
I mean, I've been watching that much that I do have like 5 rage, so I feel like.
And you'll also regain 1 as soon as you enter this combat. Oh yeah,
then
Beanstalk
hell
gain
yeah.
additional rage back.
Run down.
Yeah.
Go
So
for it.
okay, so both Beanstalk and Zoe are now in this combat. So both of you can take a rage back. You should have got it earlier, Beanstalk, but you have it now. Okay, let's get back around to the beginning and let's kill some guards. So Marco. Are you going to try? Are you just going to try and claw or bite this guy again?
So I assume I get my regeneration first.
Oh yeah, let's try your regeneration.
Which-
So roll your stamina, difficulty 8.
So I'm wounded. Does that mean I get -2 dice to this?
No,
roll?
you don't. You won't take a penalty to the regeneration.
Can I spend a willpower to just get a success on this roll?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I will do that because I'm being a little bit suspicious about this. These dices, these dice. So I'm rolling 5 dice, which is my stamina, and let's hope. And that's difficulty 8.
I mean, you don't need to roll it because extra successes won't achieve anything,
Oh, I see. Okay,
and it can't be cancelled out by a botch. So
perfect. Okay, so how much do I regen based on
1?
1. Cool. Very good. That takes me up to the next level, I think.
Cool.
Which is -1.
So bite or claw or
yeah.
other?
I think I'm going to try and bite. I've snapped at him. He's dodged out of the way. He's been bitten. I'm going to try and.
You're going to try and
try
bite him up.
Yeah, try a second time. And I think I will also spend this last willpower point just because I need to not fail.
I wouldn't.
You don't think so?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't run out of. I wouldn't drain your willpower. Bad things happen sometimes if you have no willpower. I wouldn't drain your willpower unless it's a really crucial role.
Okay, all right. I will trust.
Do it if you want, but
I think you're being very, very kind, Matt. So I will not use that willpower.
Sure.
In fact, I will use a rage just in case this all goes to hell.
To take an extra action at the end.
To take an extra action at the end.
Okay.
And I will roll my dexterity plus that's it, which is 5. No, 4. Sorry. And I will roll that. The difficulty I think is 6. So I'm just rolling.
Yeah. Don't forget to add anything for Krenos and subtract for your wound penalty.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, that was a good thing. I'm on a -1 to my wound penalty, and I'm +1 to my dex, so I'm just neutral.
That out then, yeah.
2 successes somehow. Actually, good results.
So that's strength. Well, don't celebrate just yet. Strength +1 roll, please.
Strength +1. Okay.
Yeah.
So Krenos strength is 6. So +1 is 7. I rolled 5 successes.
Good Lord, where has this all been? perhaps distracted by the arrival of Beanstalk, kind of the guard turns to him and focuses attention on the huge, like, slightly different wolf creature that's now attacking him. As he does so, he flicks his eyes away from you for a second. You kind of bound forward, fix your jaws around his neck and tear hard. His head stays on, but just about. And your mouth is filled with the warm gushing of jugular blood as his body crashes to the ground. So, one guard down. Nearly put more guards than this in this scene. Glad I didn't. Beanstalk, the guard you're fighting is dead. There's still one up and fighting Zoe.
Yeah, I'll. Thanks to being maybe a little bit smaller than these 9-foot flesh chainsaws, I will dart between the other assailants and probably get one more nom in.
Sure. Give me a Dex plus Brawl difficulty 5, please.
Dex is 5 plus Brawl is 1 plus 6 minus 1 for my level, so that takes me back down to 5. That'll do. 1, 2, 3, 2 successes.
Okay. Give me the strength, your strength plus 2 roll now, please. And I realize we didn't do your regen, but I'm thinking it might not matter in just a second.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7, minus 1 is 6.
What's the minus 1 from?
Wound pool.
You don't apply wound penalty to damage rolls.
Okay, well, I just rolled 6 dice and got a full 6 successes, so maybe that doesn't matter.
We don't need to re-roll. I think that's absolutely fine. Zoe, Lila, the individual in front of you who's kind of like trying to hang, he's being troublesome, essentially like hanging on underneath where you can bite him and trying to stab into you, just kind of goes, he's taken sideways in a blur, and you look over and Beanstalk has the man just held in his jaws. The man's kind of desperately holding up the knife to try and strike Beanstalk in the kind of around the eyes or the face, and Beanstalk just closes his jaws harder. And there's a snap and a horrible severing of tendons and flesh, and the man just gives a noise and then flops limp. You do have an extra action there, Marco, but combat done now, I'm afraid.
I'll go and pick up my clave.
There we go. There it is. Can everyone give me, please, in the kind of heat of battle dropping away, can everyone give me a wits plus alertness roll at standard difficulty to pick up some details about this atrium around you, please?
Wits plus alertness is 6 dice for me. Oh wait, does Krenos affect that? No. So 6 dice. 2 successes.
Okay. 1 success. 1 success. Sure. So around you, basically in the atrium, there are what seem to be a couple of meeting rooms off to either side. There is one wall which is largely taken up with kind of employee of the month pictures, in which the employees are all kind of like dressed in those jumpsuits and look kind of like slightly faintly uncomfortable to be having their picture taken for this, a kind of like maybe a school photo situation. They don't look particularly happy for employees of the month. Let's just put it that way. And ahead of you, kind of the direction you were coming when you came down the corridor, are 2 office doors which are closed. One of them has inscribed on it in a they both have kind of like metal plaques on, although they are slightly different. One of them is fairly plain, but very kind of fancily carved or engraved on it rather, and seems very, very polished, and just says Cameron Griffin Esquire. And the other one has a very old looking sort of faded, simple plaque that just says Mr. Hunter.
I mean, they said they were going to protect Griffin, didn't they?
It did.
I would suggest maybe gathering outside the door that is Griffin and trying our best to...
I mean, Zoe already has a fair amount of momentum and didn't get to kill anything last round, at least directly. So she's probably still going.
The blood is up.
Towards the door.
Sure. It doesn't look like a sturdy door. You know, it looks like a fairly average office door. You have below you, you're definitely, the smell of smoke is starting to rise. And every now and then there's a small kind of rumbling noise, presumably as something, another container of scientific liquids detonates down below. It sounds like Zoe is the one who's going to open/destroy this door. Yeah, so unless there's any objections. Oh, yeah, Inga, sorry, yeah, in private chat. Yeah, I'd go ahead and say that if you've taken a pause for breath, everyone can regenerate all bashing and lethal.
Okay.
Because rounds are only meant to be between 3 and 10 seconds long, and you regenerate 1 every round unless... Yeah, and if it's under stressful circumstances, you have to roll. But otherwise, yeah, you can just regenerate.
So I sort of take a breather as Zoe bounds past.
Sure, yeah. Okay, Zoe, how are you battering down this door, kicking it open?
Yeah, I'm literally like shoulder barging with the other shoulder. The other one's still holding that barrel of ethanol.
Sure, absolutely. So you batter it open, and in front of you is a very large office, kind of very fancily laid out, quite kind of an older style, all wood and plush leather. There's a large wooden desk, behind which is a very large kind of vaulted sort of window, like almost like you find in a church, but without any stained glass, which is showing over the Cincinnati skyline. The time now is let me just check. Yeah, okay. The sun is definitely going down and is just about still visible, kind of a touch of blush over the skyline, over the horizon, but enough light is still coming in. There is also a doorway open over to the left-hand side, which seems, you'd guess it's actually effectively like a secret door, like panels have slid aside to open up another space, which is quite sparsely decorated and is primarily just a large covered, as in, with a nice sort of, I don't know what you call it, like not a blanket. What would you put over a large dining table to keep it safe from scuffs and marks? Tablecloth. Thank you, Chris. The word escaped me. A nice fancy tablecloth is laid out on it. There's some silverware laid out, a plate which has like a slice of meat on it, and hanging up via a chain from the roof is a naked human individual who has had a rather neat single slice of meat taken off from their back, presumably which is on the plate. Who rolled 2 in the alertness? One we just had, Marco and Beanstalk, right?
Yep.
Can you both just give me an intelligence roll at difficulty 5, please?
Okay. 3 dice. 3 successes. This is where all my luck went.
Sure. Marco, the individual hanging upside down, the dead individual who has been sliced apart, was the individual pictured as Employee of the Month for June.
Oh, Employee of the Month in the same sense as Dish of the Day. I get it.
And standing by the table and kind of like with his hands up, kind of like striding over to behind the desk, is the very kind of picture of an 80s yuppie. Sort of slicked back hair, kind of the whitest of white guys, white shirts with kind of like a red collar and a tie, suspenders, holding up very neat pressed chino trousers. And he's just going, okay, hold on. I get you're angry. I understand that. You seem real pissed, but just give me a moment to talk. 1 moment is all I'm asking for. and he's kind of walking slowly over behind the desk. His hands are fully raised. You know, he clearly, like, you would see if he was about to like dive for something or whatever, but he's kind of just walking. He was definitely probably sat at the dining table, but now he's kind of moving over. I'd say even maybe as he put his hands up, he kind of threw down like a handkerchief that he'd used to like wipe away a bit of blood from his lips. Are we giving him said moment to say something?
I mean,
I think Lila's gonna charge right over.
I mean, I was gonna throw the barrel at him.
Sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm happy to do this. As you do so, kind of like what, like, Lila, if you see Zoe throw the barrel, are you going to charge him?
I think I will. Yeah, I think I will still. I know this is a harder roll, so it's probably very silly given the rolling right now, but it seems more appropriate to try and maybe body tackle him.
Are you going to try and tackle him through that window?
Is that possible?
Yeah, he stood more or less in front of it.
How high up are we? Yeah, let's try and body tackle him through the window.
It is the second. It's the second floor, but that bottom floor is very high.
Yeah, let's
so it would be quite a drop.
Yeah,
like a drop that would probably kill a normal human.
Who this person definitely is. Yeah, I'll give that a go.
Sure, absolutely. Well, Zoe, you're throwing your barrel, and Lila's doing that. Beanstalk and Marco, are you just letting these two kind of take the lead on this, or?
I think I would once again like to split the party and kick open the door we haven't tried yet.
The one to labeled Mr. Hunter.
Yeah.
I think if I see, I'll back up Beanstalk.
Sure, absolutely. Well, let's deal with that first. Let's leave the tense action bit for a second. So Beanstalk and Marco, yeah, Beanstalk, you easily, it's not locked as Griffin's one was not locked, and it opens up with a very like old door sounding creak. Like the door itself doesn't look like it's been upgraded in the last 100 years, something like that. You kick it open and it opens with a creak to a very simple looking office space. There is a window with an old dusty curtain drawn across it. There is a very kind of like old looking, simplistic looking wooden desk with an old fashioned looking plush desk chair behind it, where all that plush has gone. You know, it's just cracked leather and it's turned to one side, and everything is covered with a fine level of dust. The only thing on the desk is a massive stack of manufacturing reports, a massive stack of them, and the top one is labeled "This Week."
Right.
People are still putting reports on Mr. Hunter's desk.
I'll bark at Marco. Take a handful of those Weaver leaflets in case some glasswalker needs to look into it. We should go and help the others.
In the other room, I'm going to say, let's have a roll for Zoe's barrel throwing first, shall we? So let's say that's going to be dexterity. I'd say this is a dexterity plus athletics roll to heave this barrel forwards. We'll just use standard difficulty and we'll see how many successes you get, and we'll judge what the success of that might be.
That's 4 successes.
Yeah. You hit him square on with the barrel and he kind of goes, kind of toppling backwards as he does so. And sort of, it's all over him. It's all over his desk. It's all over the floor. It's everywhere. And he's staggering backwards. And as he's staggering backwards, Lila, can you give me a, well, this is a tackle. This is listed. Yeah. So it's a,
yeah, I just rolled
dexterity. Dexterity plus brawl difficulty 7. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing. I got like Had I gone for a bite, I'd have had more successes, but I got 2 9s, but 2 1s as well. So
Okay.
nada.
Well, and you remember to add your Krenos dexterity.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's staggering. You miss him through the staggering backwards, but now you're kind of flush with him, and he just kind of like almost like reaches out. He's like resting against the window, but covered head to toe in this ethanol, and he's kind of like scrabbling at your fur, and he's going, "You idiots!" Ah! It's coming through. A moment later, he erupts into a fountain of purplish, animate fluid covered in blotches, veins, and bubbling warts that continually shift and change. Whatever it is that has materialized its way through Griffin's body is like a wall of toxic fluid, not dissimilar to like the fluid you saw in the wastelands, the material you saw in the laboratory, to what is presumably soaked and festering inside the toys that were sent out from this place. And it is kind of basically rearing up to try and wrap itself around Layla, unless somehow someone does something in order to inconvenience this ethanol-soaked creature.
Please don't set it on fire.
You going to try with your razor claws again? Yeah? You've already got them out, so no need to spend rage. Why don't you give me... What was the roll we used last time? Intelligence plus...
Intelligence plus... What was it?
Plus brawl, I think.
Oh, it was plus brawl, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The thing I'm good at and the thing I'm terrible at, yes.
Yeah, go for it. Intelligence plus brawl. I'm going to set this... I think we put it at difficulty 8 last time. Let's make it easy this time, because you've done it once already, so difficulty 7.
If ever there was a time to spend a willpower.
Yeah, I'm going to spend a willpower, but I'm also going to... Yeah, let's see.
Sure.
Okay, what was the difficulty again? Difficulty 7. Okay, so that's 1. So that's 4 successes plus the willpower one. So
there we go. Okay. So, Lila, you're there kind of like, not frozen in fear, but this thing has just erupted over you with no obvious, like, easy way of constructing it. It's almost like, not plasma, but goop-like, ooze-like creature that's just erupted from the form of Griffin. Zoe, you very quickly take some steps forward, and on Griffin's desk, you see a nameplate. A very finely polished and enameled and constructed face kind of nameplate. Clearly something that Griffin took quite a bit of pride in having on his desk. You kind of grasp it in one huge paw, rake those razor claws over the metal of it in the other. Sparks fly over the desk, and immediately the Griffin thing erupts in flames. It lets out a piercing, not only inhuman, but inanimal screech, and crashes backwards through the window and just topples through the air, writhing and malleably reforming itself in an attempt to find some kind of shape that will survive the fall it's about to take, and utterly failing to do so as it splashes in a great horrible liquid crash onto the kind of the car park outside, and splatters of it come up and even douse the outside of the window that you are on. As that happens, almost identically to it, there are some great detonations that erupt from below. This building is quickly being engulfed in horrific flame and explosions. Perhaps the time has come to make your exit.
Yeah, I was about to say, as it goes out the window and I hear the eruptions, I'm just going to like yell in Gauru, time to leave.
Absolutely. Are we all barreling out of the window after the thing
Yeah.
that was Griffin?
Yeah. Yes.
Sure.
Obviously.
You dive out of this window, and I'm not. I don't want to do a big thing of it. Why don't we all just roll a die on standard success? And if you succeed, you land without any damage, and if not, you're probably a bit banged up. How about that?
I got 0 successes.
Okay, so the three of you in the front, Beanstalk, Zoe, and Lila, kind of dive out. Maybe you skid a little bit on the remains of Griffin, which, as you land, just looks like a regular old human, mostly exploded on the tarmac below. And you kind of skid to one side, but mostly find yourselves in a Marco. As you go, you're the one bringing up the rear. And as you go to leap out of the window, a gout of flame kind of erupts around you as something, maybe some of the machinery in that manufacturing room or some of the horrible thing beneath, properly erupts with the fire and the explosive material that are kind of rolling through the manufacturing plant, and you kind of spin over, lose the leap you are making, and crash into the ground a bit awkwardly. You do feel some bones break as you hit the ground, and your pack members need to kind of like heave you up to get you away from the manufacturing plant, which is very swiftly detonating.
That's right. As soon as Marco lands, I'm just going to use Mother's Touch on him with my remaining Gnosis.
Sure,
so,
we're not calculating. We're beyond
just for flavour. I just like pat you on
absolutely.
The back and you're ready to go.
As you do all find your feet, you look over at the remains of Griffin, like I say, like mostly a recognizable, scattered human on the tarmac floor, and you see that there is a raven, a crow, a corvid perched on his chest, pecking downwards. It comes up, turns to you, quizzically tilts its head in an oddly familiar way, with one eye held between its beak, and then takes off, spiraling into the rapidly darkening skies of Cincinnati. And I think we will end our story there. There we go. That's the end of our werewolf arc, folks. Sorry we ran a bit over there, but I suspect most of our final episodes of these 4 episode stories will end up bleeding over a little bit. If you've got any comments or questions, please sling them in the chat for us. In the meantime, it's promo stuff. Down below, there's a bunch of links. There's links to YouTube and to Twitch. You've watched this on one, please check out the other. There's links to our social media, our Discord, our Patreon. Those things all do what you'd expect them to do. Please have a look at them if you're interested. We run 3 weekly series here on Twitch. Shadows of Estherin is on Monday, Simbroom is on Wednesday, and Cincinnati Chronicles, this is on Thursday. They all start at 8 o'clock p.m. GMT. If you are interested in furthering the Cincinnati Chronicles, next week we will be picking up with our Mage the Ascension arc, which will be taking place in Cincinnati on the same day as this story, or at least the same 24-hour period as this story. Please do join us for that. We're very excited about it. We also run one-shots on the first weekend of every month. We had the most recent of those, and the first one of 2022 was this Saturday gone, which was Cyberpunk 2020. But all of them are available as VODs on our YouTube. Tonight we've had a follow from So Fresh So Bean. Thank you very much. And we've had a resubscribe from Lord Malice. Thank you so much, Malice. We really appreciate that so very much. In terms of comments and questions and stuff, let's have a look at what we've got. People have put some stuff in private chat. And I'll just, I might just read those out. Normally we'd like to flag them up, but if I can. Chris, can you do that? Can you maybe flag up those comments that Holly's put in the private chat?
I can. Just give me a second, because I was working on...
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Malice, no more upset puppy tails. No. Not for now, at least.
Well, I mean,
but there'll be werewolves again.
There may also be
Chris is actually a luck vampire. Yeah, that seems about right from Steve. Chris was definitely less affected by this curse than the other three tonight. Hey, some nights. Hey, it all worked out all right in the end. You know.
Yeah, we weren't all killed by those 2 guards.
Absolutely.
And thank goodness that you brought up the ethanol like up to the last.
Yeah, right.
I knew it would come in useful.
Yeah,
it was.
I'm
very
pretty
useful.
sure it doesn't actually burn as explosively as petroleum, though.
It doesn't.
But
Still, if you're covered in ethanol and someone sprays sparks on you, you're not going to have a good day.
Yeah.
So 42. Ow, cough, cough, cough. Yep. Fortunately, just got out there. The dice gods are fickle creatures this evening from Alice. They really were. I don't think I've seen a storyteller session like that for the old botches and stuff. But there we go. Paul Guard brought a knife to a wolf fight. Always the way. Well, the wolves got about 40 knives.
It turns out that bringing a knife to a wolf fight is actually reasonably effective. At least it was this evening.
These dice need to be melted down post-session. Yeah, probably. Might just need to narratively finish this encounter, which is more or less what I did. According to the plan, if anyone's curious, the griffin thing was an actual fight. But I was like, we're running pretty late. I think we can end this dramatically with Holly's choices to this point. There was definitely one from that one. Sauerkraut Kid did say, I'm surprised Matt didn't go with a Weir Tiger theme for Cincinnati. Yeah, sure, I could have done. There are Weir Tigers. They're called Khan in World of Darkness. So there we go. Which is not the only Jungle Book reference. Steve, can't wait to see how the Mage arc fits into the overall story. I think at the very end of all of this, people will look back on the Mage arc fondly. That's all I'm saying.
Mage is my second favorite of the storyteller systems.
It'll be good. We are looking forward to it. For Mage, we are sadly losing Inga for that arc, but we're gaining a John. So we're taking with one hand and giving with the other. So that'll be good. And then after that, we got Wraith and Changeling to look forward to as well. I mean, look forward to Wraith. No one looks forward to Wraith. Because, it's just the most harrowing role-playing experience possible. Yeah. Yay. So there we go. Lovely stuff. Thanks for joining us for this second arc of Cincinnati Chronicles. Join us next week for Mage. Stay safe. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.